Hey, hello everyone. How are you? We're going to be talking about easy to use bid management, what that means, what are the benefits of it. Today we have with us Adam Baldwin. He's one of our top product managers here at PlanHub, and he is the mastermind behind lots of new subcontractor features that you have seen being developed in the last several months. Welcome to the webinar, Adam.
Thanks, Eduardo. Thank you, everyone, for taking time out of your busy day to join us for this. Very much appreciated.
Awesome. And I'm Eduardo Masal. I'm a product marketing manager here at PlanHub. I've been with the company for a little over a year and a half. Very excited to be joining you. If we're going to talk about how to simplify the funnel or how we get the bid process going, it's important to understand what are some of the challenges that we experience in this pipeline or bid management process. So what we're going to do is open up the floor for a few questions, 2 questions. The first question is about sources. From how many sources do you receive invitations to bid? And I'm going to activate right now the question. So if you can see the screen, you can see the results there. 5 or more sources is what 50% of the subcontractors in today's webinar answer. We have a few on 4 sources, and 3 sources is the actual second most selected option. So clearly, when we are talking about bid management, we are talking about the challenge of working with multiple sources, and we're going to address that in a minute. The next question, if you can see on the screen, is how often do you collaborate with other team members when you are searching for projects or putting bids together? This is very interesting. You can see at the results, always and most of the time goes for 45% of the time. 45% of respondents are collaborating always or most of the time. And then that's about half. And then we have people that do it sometimes and just 20% that usually do it by themselves. So we can see that there is a big tendency for collaboration in how we manage these processes. This is something that we have also noticed in our other research and surveys that we have done. And Adam is going to talk a little more about that.
Yep, thanks, Eduardo. So yeah, as Eduardo was saying, we've been talking to subs, doing our own user research for the past quarter or so, and those poll responses really are just additional validation for some of the things we've been hearing in that time frame. So some of those pain points are subs are really looking for one holistic view where they can look into projects they have access to and just see how everyone as a whole is using the platform. And then additionally, like we saw with that poll question there about where are you all getting, or how many sources are you using for leads? And we saw it was more than 5 there, 50%. So that lends well to what we've heard in terms of project sources as well. So, and then we've also heard that we've seen that Takeoff has been picked up pretty well as a solution, but the pain point there is that because you all are using all these different project sources, you also need a mechanism to pull those into our platform so that you can use Takeoff as your estimation tool. And then lastly, of course, anything we can do to help you all save time, remove friction, streamline bidding is obviously a big win for you all as well. So given that those were 3 of the bigger pain points that we heard over the last few quarters, in this quarter, we had 3 releases that kind of try to solve these challenges in different ways. And that's what I'm going to take you through in today's demo, which we'll jump into now. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so the first new feature release we're going to start off with here is the reimagining of the subcontractor dashboard here. So what we were going for is to really give you all some convenience, and again, that bird's eye view of projects you have access to, and also like a high level view of what's going on in just company level metrics. So what do I mean by that? Let's take a look at these widgets here. So the first one here, we have your ITB feed. You can think of this as a unified inbox of all the ITBs you receive from PlanHub. So the convenience here for us is, instead of you all getting PlanHub ITBs, scattered throughout your normal inbox where you receive a bunch of other email, you can just come here and have this act as your PlanHub inbox, get it in a nice list view, organized, easy to read, easy to find things. So that's, again, one way we approach giving you all a different way of viewing projects you have access to in the platform. So continuing that feed, then on the right side here, we now have, for the more visual people like myself, you can now see a map of all the projects in PlanHub that match your trade. And then we color code them by the ones, we color code them in different ways. So the green here are projects you would have access to relative to the plan type you have. And then blue are the additional projects you could get access to if you were to increase the project area of your plan. And then these can act as filters. So you could isolate down to whatever you want to see. I can pretty easily drop down to a project where I've actually downloaded the project files, and these dots are also actually clickable, and I could go right into that project details page directly from here if I was going to use this tool for discovery. So another very powerful feature all within this dashboard here. So then this middle tier, this is a great bird's eye view for just what's going on inside the company. How is everyone using the platform? It's an aggregate at the company level. So you can see how many project files you've downloaded, saved, and how many bids you've placed in the past 30 days. So this is a good just little metric maybe for the company to try to hit certain things if you have a certain win rate you're hitting that necessitates a certain amount of volume placed to the platform. And then lastly, again, this is back to the theme of giving you a different lens of project access in the platform. You now have a list of GCs that have added you to their network on their side of the platform. You can now see a list of the project activity they're doing. So this is a GC that either found you through the directory or uploaded you through the sublist, or rather imported you into a project ITB themselves. This is a great way to keep tabs on what they're doing in the platform because they've shown interest or you have a previous relationship with them one way or the other. And by the way, that's also a great reason to go into your My Company page, fill out the company level profile, get your logos uploaded, like you see here, like the avatar badge, fill out your pre-qual. So all that stuff translates over this other side of the fence to the GC side, and it gives you a better chance of just displaying better in the GC directory. So giving yourself a chance to be found organically by a GC. Okay, then lastly, this widget. So this is kind of a unique view of project access. So what we tried to do here is this widget is finding subs with a similar profile to you, and it's showing you a feed of projects that they have engaged with. So the idea here is if this sub has a similar profile to you and they find these projects interesting, you also might find that project interesting. There's a bit of human curation going on through this widget there. So again, just another way of potentially finding new projects that might be interesting to you. Okay, so that was the reimagining of the subcontractor dashboard. So now I'm going to switch to our second of 3 features that we're going to demo today. So now I'm going to switch gears to what we were talking about in that second topic about having an integrated takeoff solution. And the pain point again there was we, as subs, we're loving the new Takeoff Lite tool, but because we get projects sourced from so many different sources, in order for us to use the Takeoff Lite tool for everything, we need a mechanism to pull in these external project files. So the latest feature release with Takeoff now lets you pull in those external project files directly into a project so that you can use Takeoff for them. So the way you would do this is you would first click on your import ITBs button. I actually have this pre-filled, so you don't have to all watch me type all this out. But it essentially creates a project shell for you to fill out with whatever project details you have. And then you can come into here to browse your files. I already uploaded some example drawings that we can use. Fill out trades, fill out the GC if you have it, project description. And this ends up creating a project details page.
Since I already kind of interrupted you, I just wanted to point out that Mike was asking if there was a way to consolidate ITBs from other sources, which you're kind of explaining, but I thought it was interesting to bring up the question so it can be answered in this part of the presentation.
So if you have ITBs, you can forward the ones that are from these formats above to your custom PlanHub email address. This is a Premier feature though, which is why it's unlocked here in this case. But that will automatically import what we can scrape from those emails as a project for you, so you don't have to do all the work of manually entering this information. That would be how you could aggregate everything as one source. And then something we'll get into later, very shortly, bid planner is then where you could see all the different things you're interested in managing your bid pipeline with in one centralized place. So we'll preview that feature in a second. So just back to the how to get projects files into Takeoff project. Again, it's only visible to your company. And then you would come down to this imported project files area, and you can just jump into Takeoff from there. And then, yeah, you can start your Takeoff. So Takeoff is its own robust tooling in itself. So we actually did a previous webinar on Takeoff. So I would encourage all of you to reach out to Eduardo in the marketing department. In the information, I think, is in the last slide potentially, or it will be dropped in chat. And we'll happily send you the link to that prior webinar so you can watch it and get spun up on Takeoff. But for the sake of this demo, just wanted to show that the mechanism for pulling all of your external projects into PlanHub so that you can use Takeoff is now in place. And you can actually add additional files right from in Takeoff itself as well. And then just one other usability thing we added recently for those that are familiar with Takeoff, you now have page numbers visible in the thumbnails, which should make it a lot easier to find those pages with files that have a large amount of pages to them. So a nice little enhancement there. And then for the centralized bid planner, thing I had mentioned earlier. So obviously, when you create that project, you want to find it. So that project is automatically pulled into Bid Planner for you. It's automatically saved for you, which is the mechanism that pulls things into Bid Planner. And then we can see there was that example project I had just created. It's got a nice different imported label, so you can easily just visually differentiate that this was a project you imported versus one of our native PlanHub projects. And yet again, you have another place for to start at Takeoff as well. So 3 different places to start Takeoff with this. Final feature of the demo. This was about, so we had the pain point that, anything you all can do that can streamline bidding would be beneficial to us. So we have a feature we'd internally called Bid Builder, which is a way to build out a digital proposal in our platform. And we recently, which you can access by clicking place bid. This might be done. Okay. So this is once you place bid, it will open up to this view. You still have the old way to place a quick bid if you already have your bid formatted online and just want to come in and upload the file. But if you want to start getting into having a digital version of a proposal right in PlanHub, you can use the Bid Builder exactly for that. So this was released in late last quarter, but it was actually a little bit hidden behind the quick bid feature. So now we're trying to bring it forward as more of a premium tool for you all to use. And as part of that, we've now included the ability to create a template for building these proposals. So I've already gone ahead and generated one template here. Actually, I want to use this one. So you can see, yeah, just populated two totally different templates there, one for framing, one for just providing roller window shades. But essentially, the idea here is it pre-populates whatever template you created in PlanHub. So at the point where you have a similar scope of work, you can just come in here, have a great jumping off point that you don't have to redo this data entry that you're doing over and over again. You can just edit any particular line item that you want, make a quick edit to something like quantity or price, save, and then that's automatically reflected in your totals. You could then save that version as a new template if you wanted to, or to the existing template if you wanted to overwrite it. And then for those of you not familiar with Bid Builder, maybe one of the great things here lets you submit, choose which GC to send something to, attach any different files you want. But then, as you can see, you get just a really nice, clean PDF proposal that you can either download or just submit directly through the PlanHub platform. And ideally, just giving you all a very flexible system that you can use to create a bunch of different templates that suit your needs. And hopefully it makes things easier for you all to submit bids and manage your bids in the platform. And then let me just show you all real quick. Going back to the bid area. Just creating a new template. It's the same button here, essentially. As soon as you would just add line items, click Save Template, and then Save New, and then give it a new name and description, and that will populate in your Templates tab. Okay, that was it for our featured demos today. So I think we're going to move over to the Q&A session. So I will stop my screen share.
Thank you, Adam. I believe that we have a few questions already on deck. If anybody has additional questions, feel free to write them down. A couple of our attendees today are asking for, sorry, the Takeoff webinar. Seems to be that there is quite a bit of interest on that. So we'll make sure that that's distributed to participants. The second thing is we're being asked if we have reporting and analytics dashboard. So I don't know if maybe we should revisit the dashboard there and see what type of analytics we have there.
Yeah, right now that what we just saw on the dashboard is going to be your best bet at exposing analytics on the subcontractor side. There is additional consideration coming for maybe putting something like creating. So we have something called like a CRM Lite that we're looking at testing. That would be a different version of Bid Planner. But within that feature scope, we've talked about the idea of, this isn't anything that's concrete on the roadmap quite yet, but letting you all set something like a close win rate and a probability percentage so that you can get an idea of what your win rate looks like, all managed within Bid Planner. So that might be a different version of the analytics and reporting you're looking for, which is essentially a mechanism for, out of how many bids I submitted, what's my win rate, and how does that translate to trying to keep my pipeline full. So that concept is on our radar. So definitely an interesting idea.
So in regards to the data that we do have in the dashboard, what would you say are kind of the main indicators to track our progress as a company?
Yeah, I mean, right now those dashboard widgets are really just to be communicate back to everyone at a high level how the company is engaging with the platform. So we try to do everything we can to make it as easy as possible for you all to win more work but it's still a platform. At the end of the day, you're going to have to put some effort in, place the bids into the platform in order to build relationships with GCs, win more work. So those metrics are really meant to be the breadcrumbs leading up to a bid. So the more projects you discover, the more projects you say, the more projects you download, the more bids you place, all those things should ladder up at some point to a higher probability of a win rate there.
Right, so it really shows you, the dashboard really shows you your progress in the bid management process based on the information that you are managing in PlanHub. Cool, so that's great. Lots of asks for Takeoff, so we definitely need to get back to that. And also, Denny is, new to PlanHub, so the ask is there a way to get kind of the basics, right? And I think that we can reach out to Denny and make sure that personalized presentation is set up for them. Is that?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. The CSM reps here at PlanHub are amazing. You can build a relationship with them. They will always be there to have your back, answer any questions, and help you navigate the platform. These are power users of the platform. They know all the ins and outs, sometimes better than even us. So I would highly recommend reaching out to a CSM. As a quick answer, on the project list, there's a keyword search at the top. That's a very powerful search that a lot of people just miss. You want to put in exactly what you're searching for. That will search the entirety of the project files that you have access to in the platform and tell you exactly what page those keywords fall. That's a great shortcut way of finding things on the platform. And then if you want the system to work a little bit better just for you and your personal company profile, there's a little thing called advanced filters in that same project list. And it's got a bunch of different inputs, something like distance from you, the type of trades you have, the regions you're working within. If you just think of those as like building a profile, go ahead and answer all of those things. That will just have PlanHub filter out all the projects that don't apply to you and only show you the ones that do fit that set of criteria. So that's another great way to have the platform work for you.
Since there are so many questions about Takeoff, I want to ask our audience today, what are the things that you would like to know about Takeoff? We have Aaron with us, who is an expert on Takeoff, and maybe we can answer a specific question or two about that. But we will make sure to reach out to each one of you that has expressed interest to set up a specific appointment to talk more about it. Let's see if we get any questions there. Yeah, so there's a question. You briefly mentioned something about sending ITBs from other sources to our PlanHub email. Where do I find our address for our account? So how do you actually forward an ITB that you receive from another source to PlanHub, and where do you find that email to forward it?
So that email, if you are currently on one of our free 21-day free trials, or if you're a Premier user, if you click on import your ITBs from the project list, that will take you into that screen we were looking at a little bit earlier, where you can manually enter fields to create a project within your company. But at the very top of that is an email address that will be specific to your company account. You should be able to forward ITBs that match the format in that header to that email address, and then it should import those with the project, with the information that's able to scrape out of those emails into your imported projects tab and also into Bid Planner for you.
Is there a way to see that while we are going through the other questions?
I can show you where that email is.
Ernesto is asking if there is a dedicated rep for his area, and the answer is yes. I'm not sure where you are located at, Ernesto, but we have reps covering the whole United States. So let us know what area you are in, and we will make sure that you are, okay, Florida, thank you. That's great. Yes, there are people specifically focused on our users in Florida. We'll make sure that they reach out to you. And there is a question that I find really interesting here. How does Takeoff assist janitorial businesses for post-construction cleaning? I think that really depends on, do you ever use plans to measure the volume of the surface that you're planning to clean or to manage as a janitorial service? Because you can do all sorts of measurements with Takeoff. So if that's what you're asking, you have an opportunity to use it that way for sure. But we can, if you have additional or follow-up questions, please feel free to share so we can answer in a better way. And yes, we do have CRM or success reps for other areas in the United States, like Houston, Texas. I think we covered all the questions right now. Yeah, and everybody that is asking to be contacted, we will contact you in today or tomorrow for sure. Anyways, thank you for participating in our webinar. We just wanted to let you know that because you have joined our webinar, we have a special offer for you. There is a 20% discount for anybody that has participated on the webinar. And there is a code, like a discount code, that we will share in our thank you email for you to use. So if you decide, when you are contacted to continue talking about Takeoff or any of the other questions that you had, you can remind the person that you're talking to that you get a 20% discount just for the fact of having participated on the webinar. So with that, I believe, Adam, that we have covered all the topics and we have answered the questions. And so thank you everybody for participating in the webinar.